Hey guy, it's your favorite Imperator Marium Nostrorum. Uh and yeah, today I wanted to talk about um my experiences with a certain bay wherein ambiguously allegedly obtained digital goods were distributed and the effect that's had on my life. Now, as many of you will know, I've not been shy about the fact that I grew up poor. I grew up, at least in my formative years, um, with a single father, uh, and for the most part, two brothers. There was one case in which there were three of us, but yeah, single father, single income, working like as a caregiver, and then later a chef in an assisted living facility. Um, Plus he wasn't at very good at managing the money that we did have. So all of that combined meant that I grew up very poor. Um, Sometimes we didn't have internet until, middle school, where basically my mom stepped in because she was sending us money as well. Uh, to ensure that we had it, because by the time I entered middle school in the early 2010s, um internet was basically a necessity if you wanted to succeed in school. Um, we had it like for sporadic periods up until then, but they cut it a lot. Um, it was never a really sure thing that was always around for us. Same thing for cable. In fact, for most of the time, I don't think we had cable. We just had regular, like, network TV. And then when they switched to digital, that converter box, that's my brother Gonzalo. And shout out to him, by the way, because this wouldn't have been possible. What I'm about to tell you guys wouldn't have been possible without Gonzalo. Uh, but as he said, that converter box thing was about to F us up. It was like $100. Um, and we eventually got a digital antenna that was cheaper than the boxes, but um more expensive than a traditional antenna, which we were using before with an HD TV. You guys are gonna call me old, I know it. But yeah, I was part of that last generation anyway. So when we got regular um internet access, it didn't take long before my brother Gonzalo discovered how torrenting and peer-to-peer file sharing worked. And as you know, the Bay worked on that technology. Um and yeah, especially in middle school, he started using it like crazy. Now, before that point, when we were still living with my mom and stuff like that, um, we had been kind of familiar with peer-to-peer file sharing stuff because of LimeWire. Yeah, I'm going there. LimeWire was the goal. Uh, but yeah, guys. And we would download music on LimeWire, like I'm sure a lot of people did. Um, but but my brother started torrenting a whole bunch of stuff from the Bay. Allegedly. And we're talking things like movies, like Martin Scorsese movies, like Amadeus, like classical music, like jazz music, like Leonard Bernstein's music lectures and stuff like that. Um, and you know whom he made watch them with him? Yours truly. Um, when at first I didn't really like it, I was like, oh man, this stuff is so boring, man. But like now looking back on it, I'm grateful because like he introduced me to Amar Bergman and stuff like that, and like um the Seventh Seal, Wes Anderson, man, Wes Anderson, New Girl, just a whole bunch of media that we couldn't afford to buy ourselves. The the most that we got was usually, maybe Wii points or Xbox points on our birthdays or movies from the clearance bin at Blockbuster. I'm talking I mentioned it before, but I don't, bro. I've seen Beauty Shop hundreds of times, literally hundreds of times. Little Man, uh, there were some good ones that we got off the clearance bin. Rain Over Me, I think that was Adam Sandler's first like dramatic performance. Uh, but most of the movies we got from there were absolute trash. Like they weren't intellectually stimulating at all because all of the good stuff we couldn't afford. And I mean, philosophically speaking, ethically speaking, there is a moral dilemma there because, like, you know, the artists and companies aren't getting paid. And, like, that's a potential sale that they didn't get at the time. But at the same time, man, like, on the other hand, and this is why I think it's ultimately good, I know some will disagree for sure, but like, when you're a poor kid, man, a lot of people like to think that poor kids and minorities and stuff like that are just naturally predisposed to all sorts of terrible things, all the stuff that they say about us migrants and everything like that. But I think the truth is that like usually people do bad stuff out of boredom, especially young kids and everything. Like the upper classes, the bourgeoisie and stuff, they take it for granted, but like that became our recreation. That kept us out of trouble. It really did. And like, to be honest, it's not like, especially right now in the era of like these super big media conglomerates and these horizontally integrated media companies, it's gotten even worse. Um, and if CEOs and stuff like that are unwilling to reasonably release and price their projects, and I'm not talking about the like splintering of streaming services. You have to go to this streaming service to get this show from the same production company that has another show on this service, and so on and so forth. As long as they're doing stuff like that, where the advantages of streaming services disappear, like, to be honest, I'm sorry, I don't feel bad about it, especially excuse me, in a situation like me and my brother were in, because stuff like that was our only hope of getting out. And we made it out, we got educated, and it wouldn't have been possible without the Bay and other services and the torrent services and stuff like that, because I genuinely do think that boredom is the root of most evil. And when the kids that need it the most don't have access to culture, especially, even though I don't like the term, but high culture that challenges them and gets them to think, we will never solve the problems of minorities, blacks, Asians, and Latinos, and everyone else, because, like, if you don't have anything else to do and the only thing you see around you is injustice and the degradation and degeneration of your own society, what are you gonna do? What choice do you have? I'm not trying to erase personal responsibility, of course not. And if you have the means to support content and artists, go ahead and do it. But, like, yeah, man, uh, free the kids, let them have culture, let them develop themselves. All right, bye, see you.